I now invite Peter Kenyon, WA Senior of the Year, CEO of Bank of Ideas, and with a passion for regional revitalisation to the stage. Peter is a wealth of knowledge on community engagement, and we are delighted that he's able to talk to us today.
Thank you very much for those very generous welcoming words. I can hardly wait to hear myself speak after that wonderful thing. But can I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land and just reminding us they were ones who gave an incredible example of stewardship of our environment. And for up to 60,000 years, people have looked after this amazing continent. And I really acknowledge today's leaders and respect those past and present for their contribution. The longest continuous culture anywhere in the world. And each of us are beneficiaries of that amazing stewardship. So I acknowledge them. Secondly, can I just acknowledge the awesome Keep Australia Beautiful organisation and particularly this Tidy Towns. Why am I excited about it? Not just because they pick up litter, but you know what? They mobilise people. They remind us what many, I think, politicians, sorry Stephen, I don't include you in it, but and many within the media often want to tell us that we live in an economy. We don't, we live in community. And it seems to me that organisations and this particular initiative just reminds us of the importance of mobilising people and getting people to fall back in love with where they live and to start to rebuild this thing called community. Because you know what, it ain't what it used to be. People aren't connecting like they used to. People don't know their neighbours like they used to. You know, today only 1 in 3 people can tell you the name of their neighbours on either side of them. Only 35% of people, in fact, even trust their neighbours. Trust levels are low. Only 1 in 20 families actively get involved in their local parents and citizens group. And what that mean? 19 families bludge on one family to do all that work. And what I love about initiatives like Tidy Towns is it gets out there and mobilises people. It gets people excited about where they live. It taps into the fact that people do care about something. And together we can actually make a difference. And to me, I think this initiative across, particularly our regional communities, is so important. I'm one of those people that's a faithful, dedicated Docker football supporter. Do we have any other intelligent people in the audience? We've got a few. I need to say the last couple of years have been really tough for us. And I'm sitting there in Domain Stadium, and I go with my 21-year-old daughter, and I can remember that very last game. We went off to Melbourne, to Docklands, and watched us play Essendon, and we just lost again. And part of my role is to make sure my daughter doesn't slit her wrists at the end of it. She gets really excited about this thing. And I can remember saying to her 2 things. You know, Ellie, we didn't lose again today. We just ran out of time. Didn't seem to comfort her. But secondly, sitting here reminds me about how we treat community, where 30,000 people who need the exercise turn up to watch 36 players who don't. And it seems to me that is what's happened to community. And this is an incredible initiative that reminds people that, you know what, governments don't create community. It's not created from the top down or the outside in. It's created from the inside out. It's created when people who live in that community come together and start caring and start identifying practical things they can do. And this initiative, I think, is without doubt probably the key initiative in many of our country towns that simply mobilises that interest, that passion and that particular commitment. Thirdly, can I just acknowledge my fellow citizens? I unfortunately have been given this honour this year of the Senior Citizen of WA, or what I prefer to call the Old Buggers Award. But I need to say it has given me an incredible opportunity to go out and meet my fellow citizens and try to encourage them. And the fundamental talk I've given this year across WA is, remember the good old days? Well, we can get them back. But you know what? Stop waiting for someone else to turn up. You are the ones we've been waiting for. You have incredible skills. You've now got time on your hands. We're an incredibly blessed generation. How about we get people back engaged? And can I challenge you in your rural communities to see this group of citizens? They're amazing. You know, 1 in 10 will live to 100. And they need to kind of like be given opportunities to use those amazing skills and now the time that they've got. So again, don't ignore our citizens. They drive it. The indicators are that by 2030, the average age in the Wheatbelt is going to be 65 years old. And so can I remind you, this is a critical group. And boy, are they willing if they can only be engaged in proper ways. I had the privilege of being in Geraldton the other week, and there's a woman called Edna Freeman. For 38 years, she has run the Gentle Gym Club in Geraldton. You know how old she is? 99, and she's running the Gentle Gym Club in the town. Boy, it's a great indicator that this group called Senior Sets can actually continue to make a really incredible contribution. And finally, can I acknowledge what is the passion of my life, and it is regional Australia. I think it's the best part of the state. We're an incredible mosaic of towns and settlements across this state. And every time I descend in any part of the state, I'm just inspired by the awesome contributions and what towns are actually doing. And in particular, this ward, Tidy Towns, I think is an incredible mechanism to remind towns that, you know what, you don't get a second chance at first impressions. And to me, many of our country towns are dying. Many of them are losing businesses. Many of them just can't keep their young people. Many of them are certainly going through major depopulation. But there is the passion out there to rebuild. And part of that is to remind people in regional Australia the feel, the appearance, the appeal of our towns is critical in terms of people wanting to keep living out there, but above all, wanting to go out there and join other people. And we've got amazing examples of communities across this state that have really done things that have just lifted that appeal. You know, I'd love to hear about Greenbushes. For 25 years, I had a rural property in Greenbushes, and I'm aware over a long period of time what people have done to take that small tin mining town and really promote it, and the Tidy Towns has been key to that. Last week, I was with people in Margaret River and just listening to them talk about their passion and what they can actually do. And these kind of like initiatives really help. And as I said, it's not just about reducing the litter problem. It is about actually contributing to the economic viability of our communities. Because overwhelmingly, you do not get a second chance at first impressions. As people drive into these towns and they look at the main street and they look at the feel and they get the vibe very quickly. And many of our towns are tired. Many of them are showing the signs of death. But it doesn't need to be like that. And this week, I've spent time in 4 wheatbelt towns this week. I am just amazed at what people are doing to start to reinvent their community. Not just economically, but they recognise that a healthy community and a healthy economy are the two sides of the same coin. And they recognise that how they look and how they feel and the sense of community spirit in that town is so essential to the economic viability of that community. And your Tidy Towns initiative is really central to that. It's one tool that you can use to mobilise people to start looking at that town and beginning to look at what is it we love about this place? What are the assets we've got? What is it we can do to enhance those assets, and what is it we can do to build upon them? And to me, don't underestimate what this award and this kind of like this action can actually do in getting people building their sense of pride, but above all, not just thinking, but doing things in a very practical way to make their town better. Can I just close by saying that our small towns are never going to be reinvented from the top down or from the outside in. Every town that I know that is growing and becoming viable and sustainable, there's one thing in common: it's happening from within. It's happening because people who live there, who care about that place and are passionate about that place and are willing to give of their time, their energy and often their own resources to make things happen. That's where towns are starting to reinvent themselves in terms of where we are today. And this award makes a huge difference. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to be here and to be part of the Heritage and Culture Award, and to just say, you know what you do is more than just about litter. It is about building community, and building a community where other people will want to come and join us or stay with us, because you know what? It's a wonderful, wonderful place to live and work and raise a family. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the privilege. I hand back to your MC to announce the things.
Thank you, Peter. Such incredibly true words, aren't they?